everyone is painfully aware of how good this pick is. And yeah, I mean, this has traditionally gone up towards Ali in the top lane, but you do have that flexibility for Icon in the mid as well.
And once again, priority on this Aphelios for LP is now, I think, 33% win rate on that pick. This will be the 4th time that he plays it. Over to Suning, though, things like the Renekton would be available if they want to get that picked up before Angel once again. Again, the Gwen could be an option for Bin in the top side. But Jayce, definitely a powerful pick when it comes to taking over the top lane.
Also means you got a lot of poke here on Suning if you do go towards it. The only thing I want to see then, if we are going to see this more kind of Jayce Ziggs combo, heavy front line. Because if you're going to opt in towards like a control mage in the mid lane here for Angel, something like a Zoe maybe, try and facilitate more of that poke, you can end up in a situation where you've so many targets as Ale on this Akali to dive onto. It becomes really difficult for Suning to try and manage her. But looks like we are getting that control mage in the mid lane. Anyway, Angel going to be taking this Twisted Fate and see if he can try and facilitate some of these early plays in those side lanes.
It's always a controversial pick, Twisted Fate, because it is one of those picks that feels like it has a bit of a timer on it, right? You have to be proactive in the early game. We've seen Suning starting to do exactly that, but whether or not they can do it consistently, I guess we'll find out in this game. Over to LNG, though, is it's going to be a Lucian locked in. Could be for Icon, could always go up to Ali on the top side as well to try and go up against the Jayce. We'll have to wait and see. Now bans, and you expect a lot towards the jungle.
Yeah, and I think, again, kind of the beefcakes here for LNG, or though actually they're going towards the Nocturne, so trying to see if they can dissuade some of the engage from Suning. But right now, I'm think from LNG side, they're going, right, well, we already have something that can threaten backline here with the Akali. The Aphelios also incredibly short range, so the Lucian to try and bypass that to a certain extent with the Culling. And I'm curious to see how else they want to try and follow this up, because honestly, the Nocturne pick, I think, would have been perfect for LNG to try and help close that gap very quickly. I think you need some things like the Leona here as well for Kedaya in that bottom lane to make sure that you can try and get on towards Suning. Otherwise, like, a culling just won't really cut us.
So the Zax ban from Suning is it's definitely something. I'm not sure if anyone else is on the same page with the Zac pick. That must be scrim information that we're just lacking, right? That must be that this is a pick that is very popular in scrims right now. It looked great in game number 1. Suning not wanting to let that one go this time. But things like Diana's still open. I'm surprised to see Zac as the priority ban in terms of AP junglers, honestly.
Yeah, maybe it's SofM looking towards an early Olaf pick, trying to get full control over the jungle when you got like Jin Zhao, the Lee Sin there. And if you go towards the Diana here, Olaf does super well into her, at least in those early stages. So I think that might be the thought process here from Suning, but we'll have to see his Hecarim ban as well. Very strange one. Not something that we've seen a huge amount of, but jungler pool has been pinched pretty heavily here. So we'll have to see Suning. Imagine Olaf will be the pick here. At least from the bans that we're seeing so far.
It could be Sejuani, dude. It could easily be Sejuani. True. If Zac and Hecarim are your bans, you're thinking tanky, you're thinking hard engaged junglers, and you're clearly trying to deny this from Tarzan. I don't know what they know that we don't, but I'm just saying Sejuani's the same category.
I'd be surprised with Sejuani just because you don't have a lot of melee matchups here, right? You got triple range essentially between Jayce, TF, and that Ziggs. So we'll have to see if we're going to go towards something else. I'm not going to talk about this because I feel like it's been a long time since we saw it. So, but on the upside anyway for LNG, you've already got that hard engage support we talked about. They banned the Leona to take the Nautilus, so something that can try and close the gap. And that one is going to be locked in. Okay, I'm only so-so on this composition from Suning. One of the big things that I like when you have a lot of this poke is a beefy front line that can try and keep the opponents off of you. Right now, there is absolutely no one that's actually going to be that tanky on Suning apart from On when he has that Unbreakable Will. When you're looking at the Nautilus with that big engage, this is where a Sejuani would pop the hell off and actually work great because you can close that distance very well. And there we go.
Let's go.
And you got an Akali. This is incredibly difficult to operate as Suning, and if they take one step wrong or they fall behind this game, they are going to get destroyed.
See, this is why I had to shave my head, Dagda, because with hair on top of how massive this 5 head is, it was just too much for my neck to handle. The Sejuani comes on through. It's up against Kha'Zix, which obviously Kha'Zix very good at 1v1ing, but Sejuani gets very tanky very fast. It does feel like for Suning, this is kind of a win fast, lose fast kind of composition, right? If they don't get ahead with like Jayce, Kha'Zix, and TF, it's going to get dicey.
Yeah, and a lot of this has to come through, as we said, like SofM getting ahead on this Kha'Zix. You need to see Angel making these early plays on this Twisted Fate as well, but he's up against the Lucian. Like, Lucian does an incredibly good job of containing this Twisted Fate, so all in all, Sunni have put themselves with it back against the wall and kind of limp themselves to a certain extent as well coming into this draft. But look, again, if they get ahead, they're going to look spectacular, and I'll be eaten by words, but if they come into these even and LNG operate their composition as they should, it should be disastrous for Sunni.
Well, as a totally impartial, unbiased caster, I really hope that you eat your words on that one. But I will say, they do have a ziggs. So Sunni, worst case scenario, they can just indefinitely clear waves and stall the game out forever. That is an option with ziggs. We've seen that many times over the years. But it's not exactly like this composition from LNG is going to fall off with an Aphelios, with a Lucian, with an ally, and a Sejuani that inevitably becomes invincible later on into the game. It's going to be difficult for Suning the longer this one goes on. It's all about the snowball in the early game. We have seen them opting into these much more proactive compositions, and we have seen it succeed. It's just whether or not they can regularly repeat that. Now, I do want to remind everyone of what happened in game number 1. Huanfeng was essentially a solo laner down in that bottom side, so keep your eyes on this game to see what he's going to do around the map to try and help SofM ruin Tarzan's entire game.
I think the problem, though, is that Kedaya does just as much work when you end up starting to run around the map, right? Especially at level 6. You set up for Icon incredibly well, work in tandem with Tarzan. The CC chain between Tarzan and Kedaya is the most disgusting thing we are probably going to witness.
On and Huanfeng are having a whale of a time. They don't care about the score. They don't care about the stakes of this game. They've got a cowbell, and they're more than happy about that. Also, one thing to quickly mention, this top lane matchup, Dagda, it ain't pretty for Ally. For a good few levels, it ain't pretty for Ally. Bin will have a huge amount of priority on the top side of the map. And you can see that Tarzan is going to start on his top side, perhaps because of that, because he knows there's not really much way he can influence that top lane matchup.
I feel like this should be one that Sunni... I know, like, I'm not dissing on the two guys, like, have your fun, but this certainly is a game that, at least for me, feels like Sunni really need to win. Because when we're talking about, hey, look, yes, you've got V5 and TT in your future, we highlighted at the start of the day, like, you still have Aura to play, you still have FPX to play here. Sunni and his Icon doing really good work against Angel, but you need to be able to win this because you're only sitting on 6. If you lose this and then you pick up those 2 expected wins against TT and V5, you're still going to be sitting at 8. That's a long trudge through playoffs if you get there. 8 is not a very confident number when you look at how many teams are sitting at, 5, 6 wins across the board.
Yeah, they definitely need to be able to get themselves a win here as SofM wants to start that ball rolling, comes into the mid lane. Tarzan is up on the top side of the map right now. He's cleared his top quadrants and he's looking for a gank himself. His LP now in trouble. Flash away from the headbutt. Pulverize on. Has to flash over the wall next. And Huanfeng going to be rooted in this bottom side. Does have flash if he needs it, but he should be able to walk away. Bin crashes the wave and toys with the idea of a dive. He's going to have to go out of the opposite side of this lane and goes into the jungle. Tarzan here is the shenanigans kick off. SofM arriving. Tarzan dips out onto the top lane himself. And now Tarzan's in an awkward spot. He has to recall. He's only taken 1 quadrant here. And SofM has his run of the entire map.
It'll be okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. Like, the time you would have spent walking down to that bottom side is essentially the same as a recall and then a walk into the bottom lane. So, not going to be too far behind. Does mean SofM will get the quicker clear as he's just on his side of the map where his camps are and then be able to reset. But I think getting the early CS in towards Ali, making sure he wasn't zoned off that large wave, definitely a big win for LNG.
Yeah, and with the priority in mid lane and bot lane as well, it's like... I was toying with the idea of SofM trying to go for an immediate double scuttle or something like that, but it's incredibly difficult when you're pushed in on every single lane on the bottom side of the map. So SofM being able to save Bin, will get a bit of a faster clear for himself, but nothing too crazy. There is a ward in here onto the Raptors from Angel. Nicely done there to help SofM out here, because Kedaya really wants a pick.
I will also say, it's not the end of the world if Tarzan does fall slightly behind here. As long as Tarzan is stopping Suning snowballing, that is an LNG win. We've just had, hey look, Jayce, Twisted Fate, Kha'Zix, all picks that need to get ahead and start snowballing. So if Tarzan is just stopping that play, it's all good. Although, no flash now mid, but an award here for LNG.
Look at this. This is the exact same play that they did in game number 2, right? Just stack up where you think SofM is going to go and try and get yourselves a free kill early. SofM, though, knows what's going on, goes up to the top side of the map instead, goes for these crooks. He is on a ward, so LNG have full information of this happening, and Tarzan is moving over as Ale is taking a heap of damage here. And I don't think that this is a 2v2 that Ale and Tarzan could realistically take right now.
No, unless Bin can maybe stop the back here. No, use the shock blast on the wave. So Ali will just be able to TP back in. Will have his shroud up and available if they try to look for a dive. They're also seeing like Tarzan's here, Kedaya is here.
SofM had no idea he was on a ward. Now has to flash. Icons moved in, and Bin won't be able to offer much support for his jungler. SofM goes down. First blood for Icon. This will be a second as well. And Ale picks it up. Both solo laners from LNG start this game beautifully.
And perfect play from LNG. You thought that you were going to be safe there as Suning because you assume, hey, look, we're going to get Tarzan on the bottom side of the map. He's only going to be resetting. I'll be out by the time we get towards his play. But LNG react amazingly with a good ward from Ale. And now you get 2 kills for the Assassin and for the Lucian in the mid lane. And this was just a brilliant play. Again, playing off these melee champions makes it so much easier to set up towards these plays as the likes of Sejuani, but they don't even need that CC. They just have raw damage to take down the 2 members of Suning.
And the fact that Angel had to recall, I'm not sure what had happened mid, but it feels like maybe Icon got an all-in opportunity onto Angel, because Angel had no flash, he had no TP, he had no way to do anything, and he was just recalling while that play was going off. So not entirely sure what happened mid, but
it was really nice timing from LNG. Angel likes to reset at 530 because he's about to hit level 6, right? Come back to lane, full mana, full health, you can make the plays happen. And they just found that opportunity where Icon was like, look, I don't have this timing window that I need to reset. I could use that advantage to move topside. And it was Suning who were trying to reset off the play. As Angel was doing it, they were just a bit late and LNG caught them out. So nice timing from LNG to punish these tempo advantages. And this is what we were talking about with LNG. This is what they did in game 1 against OMG, where you constantly had Icon rolling. They were playing through their solo laners and finding advantages for Tarzan. And now they've already got themselves that little gold lead, but crucially stopping Suning from getting ahead, stopping them getting to a position where they're comfortable. Even look at Bin's items. He's had to go towards this early Hex Drinker as well, because he knows that you're going to have so much AP damage focused in on that top side.
Making sure he can't go down. To be honest, Bin going for a Hex Drinker early, I would say, is a learning point for Suning. Like last year, would you have ever seen Bin going first item a Hex Drinker? I don't think so. That would have been a serrated Dirk 100% at the time. It feels like he's at least acknowledging that the enemy players exist in the game, which is, I guess, positive.
Well, I mean, it is definitely, especially at least when you're a Suning fan, the positive scoreline is going to be the CS lead here for Bin as well. Like, even though we've seen Ale having his lane pushed in a lot, he hasn't been able to pick up those creeps underneath the turret, and now you're sitting in a pretty okay spot as well on that bottom side as well. Huanfeng being able to push back LP as SofM tries to peek his head in towards River, but Kedaya, we said already, like Tarzan, Kedaya, this beef squad with the CC that they can land is so difficult to deal with. So you need to be so respectful as Suning with this combo that's just roaming around the map.
Yeah, Kedaya doing such a good job to just be wherever Tarzan is, help set up his jungler, and make sure that Tarzan's never alone as well. If SofM can't find isolation damage, it becomes very difficult for him to influence anything. He's 2 levels up on Kedaya. Kedaya is not very tanky, even with that aftershock. If SofM just waits a little bit, he can still do a lot of damage there. Culling coming out in the mid lane to stop the freeze that was happening there, as the wave will just be cleared in the end. Looks like SofM is going to have to settle for a Drake here, because the Herald on the top side is being taken by Tarzan, and Suning are not looking to contest for now.
Yeah, and this is the thing for LNG, they're not under pressure to try and get these dragons. All they want to do is stop the potential snowballing options for Suning, and the big one for that is that Rift Herald. You can get a whole bunch of gold, start to open up the map, start to move Suning and specifically Bin around through this Rift, or Summoner's Rift as well, but you can't do that now. And LNG, again, Icon, using the push that he has in mid to move up topside, and I can't even fault Angel. Like, yes, he's got the Destiny, but you know that you've got Tarzan in tow. They're not able to make plays around Huanfeng in the bot lane because it's a ziggs without an Alistar. So in this situation, Angel just doesn't have anywhere to go to. And although Huanfeng looks like he should get this Terra bot lane eventually, it's going to be answered on the top lane.
What is ziggs, Dagda? What on earth? He's going to just outrace the solo laners on the top side. Herald comes down. He might be able to satchel charge this beforehand. Which one's going to get it first? The satchel charge is actually Huanfeng to take the first tower versus 3 people pushing at the top side with a Herald. That is just nuts.
Just ziggs things, right? I mean, great wave push, able to do a lot of damage with the passive as well, and manages to get the turret. Now, LNG, the Herald goes down, no second charge. Dragon goes the way of Suning. So even again, we're kind of staying pretty much even across the board. And it does get to a stage, right, where, yes, your top half of the map for Suning does fall off. Huanfeng can still be massive. He just needs to be enabled by On. If you can get these multi-man pulverizes into the Mega Inferno Bomb, you can burst out the squishy members of LNG. The biggest problem is going to be trying to do that while you're dealing with Ale who's threatening your backline, while you've got like several different angles that Icon could be coming from, and also Kedaya and Tarzan directly in your face.
I do have to ask though, Dagda, like, so obviously we've set up that Suning, the game plan early on is to try and snowball as fast as possible. That's not happening right now. Obviously Huanfeng with a big lead for himself individually, but in terms of the overall snowball, Suning don't have a significant lead. In fact, they're slightly behind in gold currently. With a twist of fate, though, it does always feel like there's a lot of creativity available to the team. What do you want to see them do over the next few minutes to be able to find themselves advantages?
I think the big one for me is, yeah, you can do creative plays in side lanes, right, where you Destiny in and try and get in with Bin, but really difficult to do against things like an Akali. So I'd actually rather see them try and go for these picks where you use the Destiny in towards a Mega Inferno Bomb to make plays happen, but you can see you've got 2 members of Suning, Huanfeng and Angel, trying to defend this mid lane turret. And with LNG and the pressure that they're putting on the map, it's really difficult to find these separated fights. So those that say that, Kedaya and Tarzan now, not really having the support of their team.
Yeah, I'm trying to push a bit of vision further into the game as Ale gets himself a plate on this bottom side, and SofM. He's rubbing his hands together at the idea of a stacked minion wave, all for the jungler. It's Christmas come early. But in the meantime, he is losing plates in the mid lane. A couple of plates went over on the top side. It feels like both teams quite happy to just trade across the map.
Yeah, and again, as long as LNG are staying even, they're pretty happy. The only thing that I will say about this is, like, the opportunity to open up the map, have waves pushed in multiple areas, does lend itself in towards Angel, you know, having a bit more control in the side lane. You can see he's now moving down towards his bottom side. If you got these long lanes where Angel shoves in, maybe he can Destiny in, you can find those pick plays we're talking about. But as long as LNG are keeping the game state even, they should be okay to then look towards these bigger objectives.
SofM could be in trouble here, but Ale might be even more trouble as he will just perfect execution over to the team. Never mind, SofM has to flash away and leap as well, but the Sejuani ult, he's going to be caught, going to be taken out. The ult cannot save him. Now Bin and Angel in a 2v5. Huanfeng is just pushing mid. He's just looking to trade on playing Peel. It's a beautiful headbutt. And it means Suning get away with 3 players on the bottom side. What has Huanfeng achieved in the mid lane is the question. It's just going to be the single play.
You're not going to be able to get too much more, but again, nice job from LNG to react to what Suning were trying to do, and that was the play that we were talking about, right? Try and make these picks happen. The problem was they hadn't actually got pressure anywhere else, so LNG respond perfectly, managed to turn that play around. They don't get the tower or any plates on the bottom side, but they get another kill in their favor.
Nicely done by LNG, again, to push their advantage and more importantly, deny anything from Suning. And you can see, trying to make this play, but Ale plays it beautifully.
Yeah, and you can look towards the mid lane, right? Huanfeng has some pressure mid, but not a huge amount. And when you get these teleports coming in and just everyone from LNG showing up, they're able to make the play and turn that around. So nice job from LNG to get that. Now, the only caveat to that is Huanfeng, right? He's level 10. He's a bunch of gold ahead of pretty much anyone else in this game because he's gotten so many waves, the turret plates as well. So Huanfeng is scary. And you do have to be careful of these mega informal bombs, especially for people like Icon, Ale, LP. But at the least, with the way that these fights should be playing out, you should be spread out as LNG and not allowing Huanfeng to get like every carry on LNG stacked up in the one area to burst down.
Yeah, that is one combo that's worth mentioning as well, is with Twisted Fate. Being able to land a gold card, Ziggs launches a bomb on over. The travel speed was increased on that ability. You can find yourself getting yourself really, really insane damage. If the sweet spot on the Ziggs ult lands, it is just disgusting, honestly. But it is going to be a Drake taken by LNG here. So even Stevens on the Drakes, and it's an Infernal Soul. Well, we said, Suning, they've got a snowball. They couldn't be more over the moon with the type of Drake that we're going to get this game.
I mean, either side would be pretty happy with that, but I think we're still a long way away from kind of looking at it, right? We're 15 minutes in, there's only been 2 dragons taken so far, and kind of been split the map, so we are going to be looking more towards this Rift Trail that's just up, where LNG trying to see if they can make a play on Huanfeng before they go towards that objective, but not quite able to make it happen.
One's going to take a hit from a Calibrum there, but will be Kedaya moving away. Ale been found on the top side. Shuriken over towards Angel if he wants to follow it, but the Destiny won't be able to close the gap. Perfect execution again used by Ale just to survive these plays on the side lanes. Really, really impressed by Ale's ability to just make sure he's not going down, deny the pressure from Suning. Huanfeng just stands still and Tarzan misses the ult. He tried to read the movement. He didn't have vision, I don't think. And Huanfeng just presses S. That was beautiful.
Still, though, you can see Suning, like, they're not really in a position to, despite the fact they've got 3 ultimates down on LNG, actually push in towards this objective. The CC still too strong from LNG, especially when you look towards, again, the support jungle combo. And a hell of a lot of damage on this guide as well. Gale Force completed, and you're going to have the Rift Maker there as well for Ale. And even without the perfect execution, being able to play into the back line, threaten the likes of Huanfeng, would be enough to dissuade LNG. Or, sorry, dissuade Suning.
Suning trying to get vision control, trying to move in, but Kedaya is on the flank here. SofM is going to be hooked up, locked up as he jumps over the wall. Graviton keeps him where he is. But importantly, LNG not really looking for a kill here. They're just looking to secure themselves this Rift Herald, and they'll do exactly that. Tarzan smites it away. Angel pushing in this bottom side, but the tier 1's already finished there. Doesn't have any significant threat on the tier 2 either, so it just feels like, again, Suning losing out on these objective trades, and the macro game so far, this game from LNG, has been pretty much flawless.
Yeah, even down to, like, how are they committing these TPs, right? Because a lot of teams you'd see commit that teleport bot for that big wave, but instead, like, no, we'll lose out on a couple of CS, move Icon down there, and hold on to the teleport that we have for Ale. Because the second you end up burning through both teleports, that's where you can see Suning try and make these plays that you were talking about, Munch, earlier on, like overloading the side of the map with Bane and Angel, trying to make a pick on towards someone like Icon. But when you've still got that double TP available, the ability to respond, it becomes a little bit easier for LNG. Now, 2 minutes until this next dragon, it feels like, again, we'll see Suning try and make these trades of the maps, right? Maybe commit both Bane and Angel towards that top side, get down these top lane turrets, and create these long lanes that maybe they can make the globals work for them on.
Maybe they can make it work, but with an even scoreline, I have to say, the longer this goes on, the more I'm liking the look of what LNG are bringing to the table. But at the end of the day, we've seen Suning do crazy things before. We've seen the shenanigans come out from Suning. And SofM, you know, living up to his name, bringing that Umbral Glaive as a first item on Kha'Zix. Not the standard Kha'Zix build, but it is the standard SofM Kha'Zix build. TM, trademarked, copyrighted. All about the vision control. And if they can find pockets of vision, use the Destiny, use the fact that Kha'Zix can literally one-shot people, that's a way for Suning to get themselves in this game. But a Herald drop mid from LNG as they continue to control the pace of things. There's no way for Suning. Oh, actually, the satchel charge Does stop the charge for a second there. It's not going to actually matter, though. Charge comes through. Tower will go down. Nicely done here by LNG to continue to push the game in their favor.
Yeah, and look, again, they're just very quickly, poking their nose in, getting the objective, and then moving to where the potential plays for Suning are. SofM and Bana start to push in towards that top side, maybe looking for a dive on towards Ali. But the second that mid lane turret goes down, Tarzan and LP start to move up that direction, forcing Suning to back away. So again, LNG, not only are they getting these objectives, they're slowly but surely starting to creep and push Suning out of their own plays and making sure that they're able to keep this ever so slight lead that they have.
And it is ever so slight, but Drake coming up in 20 seconds, Dagda. And you can see both teams toying with the idea. Kedaya moving towards this bottom side. SofM just on his chickens here. And Huanfeng, while he does have teleport, he's up doing blue buff right now. Blue buff, really, really crucial for ziggs. It's very easy to run out of mana on ziggs if you're spamming those abilities. Obviously, Lost Chapter helps a lot with that one. But now Drake going to be started off by LNG. And realistically, Suning would love to be stacking these. They would love to have control, but they just don't have a way to contest right now. Bomb comes in, but it's going to be too little too late. Oh, Hook so close to hitting Huanfeng there. Good effort from Kedaya. So won't find it, though. That's SofM. And he just throws a couple of rockets their way. That's all he's got.
But the thing we said we wanted to see was Suning giving this up but responding well to it. Now they're stuck in the mid lane and potential fight.
Ult onto On, pulled back in as well, but he is Alistar, so he's completely invincible here. SofM moves forward, just gets some rocket and takes a much heavier trade back towards him. Does feel like this is kind of a similar composition to last game, right, from Suning, where it feels like they needed to be snowballing and pushing their advantage early, and they've not been able to do that so far. But I do much prefer this version where you've got the ziggs. At least the poke damage from a ziggs and a Jayce, that'll still exist later on in the game. If they can just stall out a long time around objectives to get poked down, maybe it's possible. SofM wants to find Ale here. He's in a 1v1. The Shuriken lands onto the blue buff, and it means SofM will get away. But Ale, importantly, gets the blue buff.
Yeah, and again, I mean, SofM just trying to get something back in his favor. He's 0-2, not quite able to get this advantage that you want to see from a Kha'Zix in the jungle. And Tarzan is just going to be more of a menace in these fights because of the pick, even in this skirmish on top side.
Icons TP'd in, as has Tarzan. The Destiny is channeled, though, and you can see the whole of Suning is going to be here. Suning want to make the play. Look where LP is on the map. This is a 4v5 in Suning's favor. Maybe they finally have found the window, but it doesn't look like it. It'll just be the tower taken as LP pushes in the mid lane. That's a little disappointing for Suning. I thought maybe that could be finally a window of proactivity, but they just can't find it. LNG are doing such an incredible job of snuffing out every opportunity, and now SofM's in trouble. Does have his flash available, but has to use it. He didn't want to, but he's going to have to use it just to back away. Kedaya taking some good chunk damage out from Huanfeng. Maybe this is another opportunity, but again, no. Kedaya, nice sidestep, and it means LNG get out.
You can see that even when Suning managed to get that numbers advantage in topside, there's no one really tanky enough to try and start off the play. Yes, you can have On Gopher, but level 8 Alistar at this stage, not exactly in the best of spots, even gone for the Shrellies as well. So not having access to that level 11 Unbreakable means you can pretty quickly go down towards LNG, and that's not even including the amount of CC you still have, even without LP in the play. So they decided to back away instead, and it means that Suning will get a tower, but again, it's like a lot invested from Suning for very little returned in a dividend.
We're getting financial here on the broadcast. Dagda, I dare get into a financial conversation with you. For anyone that doesn't know, Dagda used to be a finance person. I'm not. we're just saying the word finance. We're at the limit of my financial knowledge. So, you know, when it comes to towers and plates and that kind of stuff, that's it just gets Dagda ticking over, you know? Sometimes when you see teams make a really good trade in terms of towers, you'll hear Dagda lightly purring on the cast. In the meantime, though, it's going to be a disengage from Suning. Dagda, I just want them to fight, man. LNG, can you just fight them, please?
See, this is what gets me tickled, you know, where we're getting all this like fancy training around the map, like, oh, the good map movements, all this, and you're like, just hit a person, you know? But yeah, unfortunately, it's not looking likely. I mean, a minute and a half now until this next dragon. It feels like that's where we will definitely get Suning fighting. The only thing is, again, LNG are going to be able to like fight back against a lot of the vision control that Suning have just taken. They've got the likes of Tarzan, who can just roam in there, ride that front line, start to clear out that vision, and there's not really anyone on Suning who can try and contest this vision. And it actually looks like, at least from LNG's perspective, they're just going to start to get these resets coming through now and then move in towards River, where I actually thought Suning had a little bit more vision, but there's not actually a huge amount there for the Lions.
Don't mention Lions, Dagda. I'm not sure I can handle that. I know it's a little while ago now, but it's still recent enough. 35 seconds until the Infernal trick comes up. I'm just swiftly moving on from the topic.
Yeah.
This will be Infernal Soul point for the side of LNG if they're able to get the Drake. Suning would really, really love to deny that. They would love to kind of even up the Drakes here. And you can see Angel is on the bottom side already as LP takes a couple of hits from Huanfeng. And those bombs are already starting to hit. We talked about it last game, the game one, sorry. The Horizon Focus, a huge spike for Ziggs, and he's gone for a Needless as well. He's looking towards a Death Cap as his third item. This is a pure damage Ziggs build. Huanfeng will be absolutely annihilating people in the fights. Kedaya happy to tank him up for the time being, though. Drake is onto the map, and it's all about the mid priority here as both teams fighting tooth and nail to just deny these waves, but there is a wave pushing here. And LNG can toy with the idea of trying to trade a dragon for a mid tier 2 tower. Icon moves in. Huanfeng used his ult onto Kedaya, but the wave will die now. And Suning are just pushing LNG away from the bottom side of the map here. Maybe an opportunity. They've split them up. Kedaya will go down. Resets come through for SofM. Stun goes out onto Icon. There's going to be a pick as well. Coming out onto LP. He jumps onto the back line, but Angel has a stopwatch. In goes Ale to finish one off, but he's gone very deep for the play. It's a double kill for him, but he's on the wrong side of the map here. The bombs come on through. The TP is there. Shock blast. Can it land? Oh, the Qs. They're barely there. Is the Leandry still ticking? One more tick. Ale gets onto Fountain. He makes the escape.
Just about by the skin of his teeth. Holy Ale, that was close. But it is a team fight win for Suning, and I think a very messy one for LNG. I want to see LNG putting the trigger on these engages so much sooner. You can see how long they spend just back and forth in this mid lane. It means Kedaya gets poked out. I mean, even the Mega Inferno bomb was down. The second that goes down for Huanfeng, you just go for the play. Instead, they end up in these super spread out fights where this like skirmish orientated team from Suning, like with those CECs coming through from the TFs, can make the plays happen. LNG just need to be quicker off the bat, and you can see despite that, right? This fight was actually somewhat close. You end up with like a 3 for 2. If they just pulled that TP or that play faster, they could have been in a much better spot.
Okay, but importantly, off the back of all of those shenanigans, Drake will go the way of Suning, and that shock blast was literally a split second late. If that hits Ale, that is a kill. That is going to be an extra bonus. And importantly, look at that bounty that Ale now has. 300 gold extra for the next person that kills him. Same can be said for Huanfeng. Well, we talked about the build already. That's another needlessly large rod for Huanfeng. He's 1,000 gold away from a death cap. And that is, I mean, a death cap for an AP user that already has an item with a needlessly large rod. It's one of the hardest spikes you can get in the entire game.
And the big thing here for Suning as well is that it gives them control back on the map. We were saying, hey, look, it's really difficult for Suning if you're playing even as LNG to get out on towards side lanes, get them in your favor to allow Angel to start using this Destiny more effectively. Well, LNG just gave them the fight, and now you can see Angel already in the side lane pushing out. I want to see Bin getting down into the spot lane as well to start getting these waves in the favor. But look, here's the picks we're talking about.
Kedaya's the target. He does have Aftershock, so he's tanky, but not tanky enough to deal with 4 players from Suning. The bomb coming across from Huanfeng to get the assist. And Ale knows he can't get into this jungle. So now, a bit of map control gained from Suning. They need to keep playing with this tempo, right? If they can snowball from here and keep the game pushing in their favor, this is the window. This is the small time period that they have to work with here. Damage onto the tower. W comes in, a tier 2 taken. And remember, increased gold on those tier 2s. Drake not up for another 3.5 minutes, and the idea of Drake is the idea of Baron, sorry, is very, very scary right now. As SofM a little bit late to try and defend that bot lane tower.
The thing from LNG though is like the second you get
TP, it's gonna be LNG, I think, trying to toy with the idea of going for the Baron themselves. On uses his ulti just to survive here. Gold card comes out. Tarzan is locked up. I thought LNG were just going to try and burst through the Baron here. But in fact, they looked for a pick instead. They don't get it. And it means that it's just going to be a TP down.
Yeah, Icon will just move up towards that top side to collect the wave. Not the end of the road. Like, no actual ultimates were invested. But again, like, we need to see LNG playing this fast. Because if you end up in a situation where Suning continue to poke, you can see that they're just not able to get the team fight that they're really looking for. Bin and Huanfeng doing a hell of a lot of work with the long range damage that they can put out. The thing for Suning, though, is if they actually try and go towards things like this Baron, they end up in a situation where you are a sitting duck for LNG, where the CC can do a lot of work. So for Suning, trying to play the map and continue to look for these picks is far more important than investing time into trying to take down this Baron.
Yeah, and also on top of that, it's just if you do go for the Baron, LNG can contest you. They are happy to try and fight you for that one. Destiny going to be used just to get out of there from Angel. Doesn't have any mana, needs to go for a recall, so just blasting that cooldown. Also gives vision, so helps know where LNG are on the map and gives SofM an opportunity to go in and get some vision around this mid lane as well. And it does feel like, Dagda, we're going to have a few minutes here of chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. Because Drake isn't up
shooting some B-ball by
for another couple of minutes. Well, we'll probably be playing some B-ball outside of the Dragon Pit in a couple of minutes' time.
Okay.
But that's a whole different story, you know? That's in the future. For the time being, though, we can just do the Carlson, you know?
True. It's not unusual. I'm not going to sing that. Bit of Tom Jones to serenade you as we wait for this to start off, you know?
I wouldn't have even known that was Tom Jones. I thought that was Carlson. I thought he wrote that song.
Oh, true. That is true.
It's to the point where it's so synonymous with him that, you know, it might as well be his song now. It's like Johnny Cash with Hurt, you know? Who's 9 Inch Nails? Who's heard of that, you know? It's all Johnny Cash.
Oh, I think you're right when it comes towards
no idea where to go with that one.
No,
I'm sorry, mate.
You've painted me to a corner here. I don't even listen to 9 Inch Nails, and I listen to a little bit of Johnny Cash every so often. I'm like, okay. I don't even know enough about these people to follow up on that.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, Johnny Cash did a cover, and everyone now thinks it's a Johnny Cash song. Moving on. Drake is coming up in 25 seconds. And speaking of on, he's there on a move count, and he's ready to look for an all-in here. Kedaya backs away, forced back by the bomb, but flashes away from the headbutt pulverize. Space bought for Suning here. They can toy with the idea of a Drake. It's not up for 10 seconds. Shock Blast comes out. Great poke coming in, and Kedaya can't quite land the hook onto SofM there. On, threatening onto Icon, and he backs away. SofM gonna be hooked. Uses his ulti to buy himself space. On, knocked up. Angel wants to try and get a gold card, but he just can't find a way in. And LNG back away once more as Suning run towards the Drake, but actually they don't. They decide against it. They're trying to push onto LNG. Kedaya is not enjoying this game of League of Legends.
But these fights are all over the place. Like, Kedaya gets the engage onto SofM, like, cool, burst out the jungler before our dragon. Fantastic. You kill that dragon, you get out scot-free. Instead, he tries to turn and use that depth charge on towards On, potentially to stop the engage, but still, you just take the pick you have. Like, one in the hand is worth two in the bush in this situation, where if you can kill anyone on Suning, that's a win. And it feels like when you've already got the Mega Inferno Bomb down, you're missing a lot of that damage potential from Huanfeng, or at least that burst potential for your backline. And if Tarzan and Kedaya are just standing there absorbing a lot of these accelerated shock blasts and these bouncing bombs, that buys you time for Ally to get access to backline. Icon to whip people down with the culling. There's no need to, like, try and overcomplicate this. Just use the ultimates and kill them.
I think if I saw it correctly, though, you're absolutely right with the bush analogy, because SofM turned invisible with his ult after getting hooked, so I think it was... I don't think they could quite follow up onto him or somewhere along those lines. I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to see, and we won't get a replay because no kills went down. SofM, though, just takes a huge amount of damage. This stun means that Tarzan misses his ult. Now the hard engagement icon, barely turns golden to keep himself alive from the Mega Inferno bomb. But LNG, they've run out of players. They've lost the initial fight, and the amount of follow-up long-range damage is insane from both sides as LP actually finishes off SofM. There isn't even a Drake on the map to fight over. They just want to fight, Dagda. They were just as bored as I was.
And finally, you can see LNG. Look, it may not have been pretty with Tarzan splitting the uprights with that ultimate, but still able to find these picks back, able to get down some amount of damage on towards these relatively squishy members of Suning. And unfortunately, Ale hasn't really been able to get on towards these flanks. Like, you're looking at a 3-item Akali. If you get access to this backline, you're in great shape, but not actually able to find these moments to get on towards the backline means that you're essentially a player down for LNG until you can get that moment.
And Dagda, you know it's going to start to get personal now, because Tarzan has a Warmogs, and SofM is like, bruh. That is SofM's like, he's the only jungler that's allowed to build Warmogs, okay? So Tarzan is playing in dicey territory at this point in the game. Look at this build coming out from LP as well, by the way. Wit's End is a third item on this Aphelios because he knows he's just got to be able to survive what Angel and Huanfeng are going to throw his way.
And it looks like a GA next as well, so not even, well, potential that BF sword will go Infinity Edge, but certainly looks like he's going towards a GA as well to try and help with that survivability in these fights. As SofM takes about half his HP there, and again, we're going to have this rigmarole in mid lane where we're just going to keep pushing, Huanfeng clearing waves, and again, we're looking to see if Tarzan can set up these engages with Ale on the flank.
Tarzan moves in, and a Ziggs bomb does about a quarter of his health at this point, apparently. The Leandry's burn in there as well, and they protect themselves that control ward. And LNG, they keep on prodding their faces in. They keep on looking for opportunities, and they found one as SofM just walks into them. Bomb comes across the team. SofM with a stopwatch. Ale on the back line, but he's frozen. He's kept still. And the back away from SofM. He survives for now. Angel looking for a gold card onto LP, but he can't quite get in range. It's Kedaya that he finds instead. And the bombs come through alongside the shock blast. It's incredibly difficult for LNG to walk the tightrope that are these fights. And Bin, if he can find a shock blast, could maybe finish off Ale, but they don't have vision. And it means that they won't find the window. But Suning, again, holding LNG at arm's reach. And Drake is up in a minute and a half back there. If they could get an Infernal Soul, this only becomes harder for LNG.
The Everfrost was clutch there from Angel as well, managing to lock up Ale as he went in towards that fight. But again, we're kind of seeing a very split up fight from LNG where you've got the majority of the tanks positioned away from the backline. Icon and LP are there pushing in mid. You've got Tarzan and Kedaya who are off on the side. So you're caught between a hard place here as Icon and LP because you can't aggress forward. On can go for the engage. You got a lot of bursts from Huanfeng and you're not able to follow up on these engages from LNG. You want kind of this 4-man front to back with Ale off on the side, but we're just not really finding that opportunity for LNG here.
Not happening so far, but Drake's up in 50 seconds. And Suning, once again, they can play with space. They can play with the range and with the poke. And this is where the Warmogs becomes really valuable for Tarzan. If he can withstand that poke for his team, be the one that's happy to be on the front line, taking the brunt of it. Kedaya, that's not the place to be, though. Gets frozen up. Stopwatch will keep him alive for now, but the bombs should be able to follow up. Flashes on out to safety. And will actually survive for the time being. I thought he was a goner for a second there. Tarzan, again, trying to tank. We could see a 50-50 smite coming down for this Drake, honestly, at this point. As LNG being forced into the bottom side. Suning gaining ground here, pushing forward, getting bombs out. That's 1 Q, that's half of Icon's HP. That is insane damage that Huanfeng is able to put out at this point in the game. Ale looking for a flank. This Akali could change everything here. Drake going to be started up. Now there is a ward. Suning have full information on where Ale is, and they found Kedaya. Once again, Tarzan goes into the backline here on trying to protect, but he goes down himself. Huanfeng flashing away, but he's chased down. 2 kills for LP. Bin has got to make something happen here, but the Drake's already gone. Damage onto LP just isn't enough. SofM, he's caught out in a really awkward position here. He's hiding in the tri-brush, knows Ale is coming, has a lot of burst damage. If Ale face checks this one alone, he doesn't know where SofM is. That's a Kha'Zix. I don't know if you can 1v1 that. will have to back away, and it means SofM gets out.
Yeah, just able to move away. Ale just burns the perfect execution there, so manages to stay safe. But we can see, finally, we get the fight that we've been talking about for LNG, right? You've got the 2 tanks positioned in the front line for LNG. Icon and LP in the back line, and Ale finding that flank. He's causing so much pressure for Sunni because the only person who can really deal with them is going to be On, and he's already gone in aggressive on towards LNG. And now Angel, he's overextended.
Oh, no. Has flash, has cleanse, but really, you don't want to use them if you can help it. Nice dodge on the ulti from Tarzan, though. Means he gets out. Great Everfrost too. He needs to recall. He has no mana. And Baron is on the cards right now for the side of LNG if they can maintain control of the area. Remember, the poke damage is insane, though, and Kedaya not really tanky enough to be able to soak much of it.
Yeah, nerves of steel there from Angel. Tarzan tries to predict the flash, but Angel actually holds onto it. And it's not the cleanse, it's the clarity I think he's holding onto right now. So wouldn't have even been able to get out of that one. So that would have been a really dicey spot, but Angel reads what Tarzan was trying to do and managed to hold on towards his flash. And now, with that big team fight engaged down, Ali's actually jumped on towards SofM.
Good effort there. Will have to flash away. Costs him a summoner spell, not ideal. I'm not going to lie, Dagda, I thought you were making a pun. I forgot Clarity is even a summoner spell. That's the mana one. I was thinking of Clairvoyance. And I thought you were just making a pun about how big brain Angel is. Turns out I'm just an idiot and I don't play enough ARAM.
Hey, I mean, look, it's not one that exactly you see very often at Summer's Rift, so I don't really blame you. But, yeah, again, it means that, look, Tarzan doesn't get the pick, but LNG, regardless, they're getting control over this area for the Baron once again, starting to push Sunni back, but you're taking these control of these objectives really early and then not actually able to do anything with it. So they need to find this engage as maybe.
Cullen comes out. That's really like vigilant. Why is everyone just throwing their ults? It's a bit more successful for the side of Suning as a couple of bombs come across, a couple of shock blasts. Kedaya and Icon forced away from the play. SofM thinks he's found Ale. Shock blast goes in as well. They can't quite finish him off, and that Zhonya's going to be so crucial for Ale, not just for the actual stasis, but the armor that it offers. As Suning, they start this Baron off and immediately back away again. Clear away the vision. They have control of the area right now. Tarzan stepping forward, has that Warmog, so he's more than happy to be the brick wall at the front line of these team fights, but it's just whether or not the rest of his team can follow up when he tries to make these plays. Angel's up on the top side. Everfrost on Kedaya. Tarzan can't follow up on the pick onto Angel instead. And Dagda, it feels like this entire game has been on a knife's edge.
Yeah, I mean, LNG are desperately trying everything to find these plays to start off fights. You get the Moonlight Vigil to try and lock down Angel. You don't get the follow-up from Tarzan. Then again, you get that ult from Kedaya. Tarzan not in a position to follow up. These fights are so spread out, and LNG just aren't in a position to follow up on the initial engages. So Sunni are able to just about skirt away from them. And now, Sunni come back onto the map. They've been slowly but surely whittling down these health bars and also getting rid of these ultimate abilities. And with Dragon in a minute, this dancing back and forth between Sunni and LNG will have to come to a head.
And I'm excited for it, Dagda. Infernal Soul Point. The most exciting Drake that we get. The most exciting Soul Point that we get. 1 minute until that's going to come onto the map, and Suning right now are the ones in position to threaten it, right? They're the ones with control, trying to get some vision from the side of LNG. They have nothing. Look at the minimap right now. There are 0 red wards on the bottom half of the map, and it makes it incredibly difficult for LNG to be able to make one. Actually, I think that might be one behind the Baron pit.
Ooh,
so perhaps a TP angle for Ale later on. The Cullen comes out once again, but can't quite find anything more off the back of it here. The shock blasts. My goodness, Bin is going to be high up on the damage chart by the end of this one. Soon in control of the river here. Drake up in 15.
And as well, Icon just taking that heap of damage, has no TP, so that's going to stick. But again, we need to see LNG making this play happen quick. Otherwise, Kedaya is going to be poked out, and their backline will be as well.
Now remember, the Dragon could just be burst. LNG can't really threaten a trade on this one. As the crab goes down, SofM gets that one. Here we go with the engage from Tarzan. He's not that tanky though. Health bar already low. The bombs come on through. Ale in the backline turns golden to keep himself alive. Bin with one. Now onto the backline himself. LNG low, but they're winning out the fight. It feels like Icon taken down. Tarzan in the pit. SofM back in and he gets the soul. It somehow comes up trumps for Suning as they pick everybody up. SofM gets the smite that takes the series by the looks of things, but maybe they can't end just yet.
SofM with the miracle play, the in out, shaking LNG all about, manages to get the steal, gets the kills, and Ale off on the side here will get spotted on the ward. Perfect execution up in just a few moments. It looks like with that, Suning are just going to back away, happy with the prize that they got.
I think Ale was under the assumption that Suning maybe had already started the Baron. It felt like an early TP to try and get onto the scene. He wants a Gromp maybe. Instead, he wants some vision. He wants anything. Let's take another look, Dagda. It was LNG to start the play.
Yeah, On managed to soak up all that CC from Tarzan at the beginning, but Kedaya and Ale were not in a position to follow up. They both have to flash over the wall just to get into this play. Again, the miscommunication and like the lack of coordination between LNG come back to bite them. Now Suning, though, are on this Baron.
Yeah, there's no time to talk about the fights here. But actually, there won't be a fight for this Baron. It's just going to be taken by Suning. And we said they wanted a fast win. Well, we're 45 minutes in at this point. And look at Huanfeng's build. With an Infernal Soul, he is 6 items strong. He has many, many needlessly large rods in that build as well. Huanfeng is a nightmare for the side of LNG to deal with right now. And the same for Bin, right? When we look at his build, he's almost finished his off as well. The Infernal Soul just adds so much damage to this long-range poke.
Yeah, and I have to give a shout out to On. He's been playing so well around Tarzan's ultimate. He's literally, as you can see, like drawing a straight line between the carries and Tarzan at pretty much all points in time. And it means that LNG haven't been able to quite find these fights in the manner that they want to. And now, with this Baron up, you're going to be even worse off as LNG. This siege is obnoxious from Suning. And that tower only needs a few shots before Ziggs can make it implode.
Now, Suning have to make sure not to overextend here. They can be caught out. And look at Icon and Kedaya trying to find a creative flank. They know that they have to make something happen. They will slowly but surely lose the game against the Ziggs. If they don't, the siege is just insane from Suning. The tower will go down. SofM engaged upon by Icon, but can't connect the culling. And it means Suning can keep the siege going. They're happy to do this all day long. They have the siege minions. They have a Ziggs to keep pushing with. The inhib will fall. That's one down for Suning. And they're going to call that a win and back off.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice win for Suning, managing to get that tower, get the inhibitor, and that's going to be it. TP now from onto the bot side of the map for Huanfeng. They want to try and keep this pace up, use as much of this Baron buff as possible.
They still have a minute and 15 seconds as Huanfeng has TP'd back. Bin has TP'd back as well. The rest of the team moving over. Remember, Angel has Destiny available to join the play on top of everyone else. They can just keep the Baron buff on these minions while they wait for everyone to arrive. And Icon, the one to try and answer, and immediately greeted with bombs and blasts to chase him away from the tower, and ultimately LNG cannot contest while this Baron is still in play. 45 seconds to go. There's tier 2 taken, and Suning want to try and find another inhibitor. Super minions are going to start to push in this mid lane now, so the pressure is increased onto LNG. Look at the damage they do to these towers. It goes immediately now onto the inhib as well. And LNG, they're desperately looking for a window, but they're struggling to find it. On playing bouncer on the front line. Kedaya kicked out by another shock blast. And the inhib will fall. 20 seconds on the Baron. I don't think Suning can try and push and end the game here, but they might just try anyway. Staying grouped as a 5, looking for towers here. Remember, Suning don't want the fight, they just want the towers. Tarzan's ult is a bit of a whiff here. It means LNG have to back away once more. Another tower goes down. Kedaya forced onto the fountain himself. But Suning, surely that's enough. Surely they back away.
And you would have loved here, a lot of damage onto LP as Ale, if there was some sort of ward somewhere you could TP to, find some sort of flank to get that backline access. But look at Suning. They've completely controlled this bottom side jungle, made sure there's zero way that LNG can get out.
There's no need for that. There's just no need for that. I will say, this is miserable for LNG, man. What do you do? Like, how do you play this game? What, like, you don't even get to do auto attacks.
And it's not like it's gonna get any easier as well. Like, at this stage, you've lost so much of your base. You've got full control of the map here for Suning. Elder Dragon in a minute is like the one spot where LNG can maybe find the miracle fight, maybe find the moment to turn this game around. They need to get there now, though, so they can get control.
I'm not sure
and make sure that they're actually able to
I think
fight
Dagda is
for
lagged
this
out
dragon.
on this one, unfortunately. I will say, I'm not sure we were necessarily correct on the scaling points we made earlier, that Suning need a really fast win, because it feels like this is a slow and steady one, and Suning are more than happy about it. Oh, are you back, Dagda?
I am back. I am back.
Okay, excellent. We're back. As it's going to be the top tier 2 taken. And I was just saying to our lovely audience here that it feels like the scaling conversations we had that Suning needed to win fast. Perhaps not necessarily correct at the end of the day, as the tower barely survives for now. LNG look for an engage, but it's just denied once again. Everfrost is there. Tarzan has to flash out of the play. And guess what? Huanfeng doesn't even need minions. He can just throw W at that tower and it will go down. There it goes. Easy peasy lemon squeezy for Suning. And this is slow, this is steady, this is macro focused, and Suning are loving it. Kedaya forced back out of the play as he tried to get onto SofM here. Vision cleared away. Rinse and repeat for Suning. Tarzan looks for SofM. But supers are piling into the base. I mean, Suning can move into the top side now. And that now is double supers in every single lane, just as Elder Dragon spawns onto the map.
And there's so little that LNG can do. When you're able to just group up and force these sieges as Suning, you're just getting poked out even more so than you have been already at these fights. Now, LNG, they're risking it all. They're just saying, look, we need to fight for Elder. This is the only thing we can do. But Angel, he's got Destiny. He's just going to push into that top side and make sure that he's able to keep the LNG back in their own base.
Yeah. Angel's literally just looking LNG down into the eyes and saying, what are you going to do about it, buddy? And in the meantime, the rest of the team just takes this Elder Drake. Suning, complete and utter control of this game now. It's only 10 and 10 on the scoreboard as we broach the 51-minute mark here. But with Elder Drake, Suning can also go for a Baron, which, to be honest, feels a little bit overkill at this point. Perhaps you don't need the Baron for yourselves. But they're going to go for it. Going to do this one by the book. Every single objective they can physically get, they will. And now with double supers, with Baron, with Elder, surely Suning can close this out.
I mean, there's just nothing really there for LNG. You're not going to get some sort of miracle pick now at the 51-minute mark. Suning are all going to play grouped up. The depth rush, though, could be the answer, but you've got so many ways of checking it.
Icon is in so much trouble right now. Mega Inferno
Oh,
Bomb just goes shy, but Kedaya goes down instead. Leandries is too strong with Elder, and now LP desperately trying to get some damage out, but Ale can't really get into the play here. Dives on the backline, but On just body blocks everything. He goes down. The burns taking onto Icon as well. The rockets coming on through. LP desperate to do what he can, but the GA popped now. Onto Icon. In they go for a couple more kills. It's a victory lap for Suning, and a deserved one after one of the cleanest games I've seen in a while in the late game. Suning take this 2-1.
I thought that Suning wouldn't be able to push this across the line. I saw the amount of engage tools that were on LNG, and they would just run them over. But instead, you get this very well orchestrated play come through from Suning, playing incredibly far back, not giving LNG the opportunity to engage. And I know he won't get it, but On for me was the MVP this game. The unsung hero. Every single time Tarzan was trying to make these